Wait. This video is not for you. This is for the man who sits alone at night and asks himself, I gave everything. So why did it all fall apart? But before we get into that, let me tell you a story. 500 years ago in Italy, there was a man. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. He was not an ordinary man. He was the man who dissected human nature like a surgeon with a scalpel. He wrote a book. But that book was never published, because when the rulers of the time discovered what was inside it, they gave one order: burn it, tonight, no questions. And that book was burned. But the man who was ordered to burn it did one thing first. In the middle of the night, he pulled out certain pages. He hid them in a secret place where no one would ever look. Those pages disappeared for centuries. 99% of the world still does not know what was written on them. But what was written on those pages was a truth that the powerful did not want ordinary men to know. Because if that truth had reached every man would have started thinking the way only 1% of people think. And that 1% is still running the world today. Today I'm going to tell you that truth. Those pages that were burned, that secret that was hidden, that psychological truth that the rulers banned because it was only meant for the powerful. After hearing this, you will not be the same person you are right now. Not the way you think, not the way you see, not the way you understand people. Everything will change, but I will warn you now, this will not be comfortable. This is the thing your heart does not want to hear, but your mind has been waiting to hear your entire life. So if you want to stay the same, close this video right now. But if even once the question has crossed your mind, why did this happen to me? I gave everything, so why did I end up with nothing? What is the thing others know that I don't? Then the next 10 minutes will be the most important 10 minutes of your life. 99% of people will never know this. Today, you are about to join the 1%. Let's begin. Machiavelli wrote the first truth on those hidden pages, and it was this. There are two kinds of people in the world: those who hold power and those who give it away. Read that. Stop. Read it again. In your own life, which one are you? In every relationship, every connection, there is a hidden world, a psychological world, where balance does not exist, where one side always wants more, gives more, waits more, apologizes more, and the other side simply receives. This is not a cruel thing. This is human nature. This is exactly what Machiavelli explained. He said, love is not just a feeling, love is a position. And that position is either something you hold or something that gets taken from you. Most men surrender that position themselves. They do it from the very first day. They rearrange their schedule for her. They soften their voice. They abandon their own opinions. They put their entire life on hold. And they think, when she sees my sacrifice, she will understand how much I love her. No. She does not see how much you love her. She sees how desperately you need to prove it. And that difference, that one difference, changes everything. Think about every relationship you have ever watched fall apart, not just yours, your friends, your family, men around you. The pattern is always the same. One person gave too much, too soon. One person made the other person their entire world, before the other person had even decided if they wanted to be in that world. And the moment you hand someone that much power over your emotions, something invisible shifts. The dynamic changes. The balance tips. And once it tips, getting it back is almost impossible, because you cannot unsay what your actions already said. Machiavelli wrote that a lion who begins to show fear is no longer a lion. He becomes a caged animal, even if the cage is made of gold. You came into love as a lion, but step by step, piece by piece, you put yourself inside a cage, and then you were surprised that she walked away. The second truth from those pages, and this one is the most painful, Machiavelli wrote, the world does not give you what you deserve. The world gives you what you represent. You believe being good is enough. You believe being loyal, always being there, never betraying, being patient. These qualities inside you should produce a good result. But that is exactly the trap. Being a good man is a character, and character alone does not create attraction. Presence does. The man who walks into a room and the energy shifts. He does not know any special formula. He only knows one thing. He knows who he is, and he does not need anyone to tell him. This is not confidence, this is something deeper. Machiavelli called it gravitas, a psychological weight that communicates without words that this person carries something that others do not. And this gravitas, this weight, does not come from any course, any tip, any trick. It comes from only one thing. When you become so consumed by your own life, your own growth, your own mission, your own purpose, that you genuinely do not have the time or the need to impress anyone. At that moment, automatically, people are pulled toward you. But from the day you started trying to impress someone, that was the day you began losing your gravitas. And the saddest part, most men do not even realize when it happens. It starts small. You laugh a little too hard at her jokes. You change your plans to match hers. You hold back your real opinion because you are afraid of how she might react. Each of those moments alone means nothing. But together, one after another, day after day, they add up to a picture. And that picture says, I am performing for your approval. And once someone sees that picture, they cannot unsee it. The third secret from those pages. And this truth, when you hear it, your heart will say, no, this is wrong. But your mind deep inside knows it is completely right. Machiavelli wrote, whether it is a woman or the world, both are looking for the same thing. Will you break under pressure or won't you? Whether she loves you or not, she tests you. Always. This is not a conspiracy. This is not a game. This is biology. Thousands of years old, working exactly the same way today. The tests come in different forms. Sometimes she suddenly goes cold for no reason. Sometimes she creates a big scene over something small. Sometimes she starts praising someone else right in front of you. Sometimes she goes hours without replying. And you, what do? You panic. You send message after message. You ask, what happened? Did I do something wrong? I'm sorry. And in that exact moment, the test is failed. Not because you did something wrong, but because your reaction revealed one thing, that your inner world, your psychological foundation, depends on her mood. And a man whose inner world depends on someone else's mood is psychologically weak in her eyes. Machiavelli wrote about rulers. The leader who panics first in a crisis is not a leader. He is a burden. You came to be her leader. The way to pass the test was not to panic. The way to pass the test was to stay calm, live your life, and remain in all that noise exactly who you are. The fourth secret, perhaps the most practically powerful one from those burned pages. Machiavelli wrote, what is fully visible holds no value. Value always lives in what has not yet been fully understood. You told her everything on the very first day. Your feelings, your plans, your fears, your past, your dreams, your insecurities, everything. You thought this was vulnerability, this was intimacy, this builds connection. No, this was the closing of mystery. When you are reading a novel and someone tells you the ending on the first page, do you still read it? No, because the secret is gone. That is what you did. In the first week you gave away the ending. Machiavelli's rule was, never show everything. Always keep something back. A man's depth is understood when months later the other person is still discovering new parts of him. This is not manipulation. This is actually building real depth. The man who naturally seems mysterious, he is not performing anything. He is simply so consumed by his own life that he never had the time to expose everything. He has so many layers that even he does not know all of them. He is a book that reveals something new every single time you open it. You turned yourself into a one-page pamphlet, and then you were surprised that she stopped reading. The fifth secret, the most important one, Machiavelli wrote, the man who makes another person his purpose empties himself of purpose. And an empty man has nothing, not for the world, not for himself. When you fall for someone and that person becomes the center of your entire world, you think this is love. But what it actually is dependency. And the difference between love and dependency is the same as the difference between water and poison. On the surface, they look the same. One quietly kills. The man who makes someone his mission sends one quiet message to that person. He says, I had nothing before you arrived. My life was empty. I was incomplete. And no healthy person wants to carry the weight of being someone else's entire reason for existing. But the man who already has a mission, a direction, something he is building before anyone arrives. He wakes up with purpose not because of someone else, but because of what he is creating. When that man connects with someone, he is saying without words, "My life is already beautiful, and you can add more beauty to it." That is an invitation, not a plea. And an invitation is always more powerful than a plea. Machiavelli spent his entire life on one mission. Everything was taken from him once. His position, his reputation, his home, all of it. But he kept writing, he kept thinking, he kept moving forward. Why? Because his mission was not dependent on any person or any position. His mission was to understand, to write, to speak truth. And no one could take that from him. What is your mission? If the answer did not come, then you just found your answer. And here is what nobody tells you about finding your mission. You do not find it by thinking about it. You do not find it by journaling about it. You do not find it by watching videos about it. You find it by doing something, anything. You try, you fail, you adjust, you move. And somewhere in that movement, somewhere in that action, you discover what makes you feel alive and what makes you feel hollow. That contrast, that feeling is your compass. Most men are waiting to feel ready before they start. But readiness does not come before starting. It comes because of starting. The man who is waiting for the perfect moment to begin his mission is the man who will be waiting forever. Start now. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Because a man in motion, even moving in the wrong direction, is infinitely more magnetic than a man standing completely still. The sixth secret. When you hear this, your heart will say, "This is cruel, this is cold." But this is the psychological truth that was written with the deepest clarity on those pages. Machiavelli wrote, "What you cannot leave controls you, and what controls you can never truly love you." Most men stay in relationships not because they love, but because they cannot leave. Not from love, from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear that no one else will come. Fear that they are not enough to attract something better. And that fear is felt by the other person. She does not say anything. But something inside her, that psychological antenna, receives the signal. This man is here because he has no other option. And a man with no options automatically loses his value. Machiavelli wrote about rulers. The ruler who bows his head for one alliance alone will one day have that head removed, because he revealed, "I need you." The man who can genuinely walk away, who has built a life so full, so meaningful, that the absence of any one person, as painful as it would be, would not destroy him. When that man stays, his staying means something completely different. He is saying, "I am here because I choose to be, every single day, freely." And chosen love is 1,000 times more powerful than desperate love. Fill your life so completely that whoever leaves cannot break you. Then watch even the ones who leave start to reconsider, because a full man is rare, and rare things are always the most wanted. And now the final page, the page they tried hardest to burn. Because on this page was written the one thing the rulers absolutely could not allow ordinary men to discover. Machiavelli wrote, "The greatest power is not an army, not wealth, not any weapon. The greatest power is the man who has completely come to know himself." Knowing yourself. It sounds simple. It is the hardest thing a human being can do in an entire lifetime. Knowing yourself means facing that fear inside you, the one you have been avoiding for years. Seeing that pattern, the one you learn from your father, your mother, the one that destroys every relationship you enter. Accepting that weakness, the one you have been projecting onto others for so long. And here is the brutal reality. This work is uncomfortable. It is supposed to be uncomfortable, because every truth worth having lives on the other side of discomfort. The men who skip this work spend their entire lives confused, wondering why the same thing keeps happening, blaming different people for the same pain, never realizing the common thread in every story was always themselves. Most people never do this work. which is why most people repeat the same relationship with different faces and get the same result. Because the problem was never in the other person. The problem was in the pattern being carried from within. Machiavelli studied rulers his entire life. Every ruler who was defeated, the defeat came from inside. Arrogance, insecurity, dependency on others, looking away from their own weakness. And every ruler who kept winning was the one who had first conquered himself. So now I want to ask you one question. Just one. And I want you to answer it honestly right here to yourself. What is the one pattern that repeats itself in your life again and again? What is the one place where every relationship, every connection eventually breaks? What is the fear that is controlling your biggest decisions right now and you know it, but you keep looking away from it? That answer, that secret, that hidden page that Machiavelli wrote, and they tried to destroy it, lives inside you. It always did. It was never outside. The 7 truths you heard in this video were not new information. This was the thing you already knew. But no one ever had the courage to say it to your face in plain words. Today, someone did. Now the work is yours. Knowing is not enough. Understanding is not enough. Machiavelli's very last line, perhaps the exact reason those pages were burned, was this: knowledge without action is nothing but a beautiful cage. Whether you freed yourself today or locked yourself in that decision will be made in the next 24 hours. Not next month, not next year. Tomorrow morning, wake up and do one thing, that one thing you have been avoiding the longest, that one step, that one decision, that one truth you have been turning your eyes away from. Take it. Because those 1% who run the world, their secret was never a book. Their secret was simply this: they did what the 99% kept meaning to do. If something in this video hit you differently, if there was even one line that landed somewhere deep, then you already know what to do next. Hit subscribe, because this channel exists for the men who are done with surface-level advice and ready for the truth that actually changes something. Every single week, deeper, harder, and clearer than anything you will find anywhere else. Share this with one person in your life who needs to hear it. Not to lecture them, just because sometimes the right words at the right moment redirect an entire life. And drop one word in the comments, just one word that describes the man you are committing to becoming after watching this. Not tomorrow, right now. Because the man who exists on the other side of that commitment is reading your comment from the future. Make sure he is proud of what you wrote. Because the version of you that exists 1 year from now is being built by the decisions you make starting today.